Believe it or not, there are some cancer patients receiving chemotherapy who are being injured by the catheters used to administer the chemo drugs into their body. As if these people didn't have enough going on, there are now lawsuits against the manufacturer of these catheters. So what exactly am I talking about? There is a MDL, a multi-district litigation going on against Bard. B-A-R-D is the manufacturer of the PowerPort. That is the device that's being administered and being used to administer the chemo drugs that is defective. How are they defective? So the device itself is inserted into the body. So in the clavicle area of the patient, there's an incision, and this device is put inside the body under the skin. So there's two parts to it. There's a port to stabilize the area where the drugs are administered, and importantly, attached to that is a catheter. It's a long tube that then is inserted into a vein that delivers the drugs into the bloodstream. Now, what's been going on and what the case is about is that catheter is defectively designed. And what's happened is it's breaking down. And by breaking down, it's causing multiple issues that these people have to deal with. So the claims that are being made in this case include claims of that tube, that catheter, number one, fracturing, breaking. So the tube itself, after being inside the body for a while, breaks down, and actually a piece can break off. And we see cases where it's traveled to the lungs, to the heart, and as you can imagine, can cause tremendous problems and injuries. Also, with this fracturing of the catheter, it doesn't always break off. It can fracture and stay in place. But what that does is it creates edges, rough edges. The catheter itself is supposed to be smooth. When it fractures and causes edges, things can now accumulate in these microscopic gaps where bacteria can accumulate. And if enough bacteria accumulates, it can form an infection. And infections can be devastating and sometimes fatal. So we've seen cases like that. Also, with these catheters breaking down and fracturing, these gaps can cause blood clots, these areas and pockets within the fractures, and because it's no longer smooth around the surface, blood can actually accumulate outside the catheter and form into a clot. And what happens is these clots can then break off and travel through the body. And clots that are traveling through the body are extremely dangerous. So it can go to your heart, cause a heart attack. The clots can go to your brain and cause a stroke. All these very serious complications for cancer patients. For the most part, these devices are used for cancer patients. It could be used for other things. These ports are used when someone needs to have drugs administered often, and chemotherapy patients are seen frequently. And rather than breaking the skin in your arm or your wrist every time administering those drugs, it's easier, more efficient, and better for the patient to have this device inserted. But this is now what these cancer patients are dealing with. So what is the status of the Bard mass tort? It is pending in Arizona. We brought a bunch of cases together. This started in 2023, and now there's over 2,000 cases that are pending, and it's far along. The discovery is done, the questioning and the depositions have been done, and what's next is the bellwether trial. So there's actually a trial scheduled in March of this year, and these bellwether trials are when several of these cases, not all of them, there's, like I said, thousands, but several of them are chosen to be tried. And the first one is scheduled for March. And they have these trials really to see what a jury thinks of the strength of the case, the value of the case, and depending on how the juries decide these cases, that's what promotes settlement. So that is the status of the Bard mass tort. I will say that joining us today was Khaleesi. Khaleesi is an outdoor cat that is the queen of the outdoor cats. As you can see, she's very comfortable. She's an adorable cat. So that's the update for the Bard mass tort litigation.